welcome.
I thought you were going to go into song.
No, we usually go into song.
Yeah.
And I
You're
thought,
changing it up?
I'm not going to do that this time.
This is a fresh start. Do you know we're going into like month 3 of this?
Yes, and let's tell the people who we are.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
I'm Sallie Dale.
I'm Holly Feltz.
And this is the Why Can't We Be Friends podcast. Holly.
Yes.
Why do we do this?
Honestly, I have no idea. No, I'm kidding. We are moms. We're business owners. We're wives. We're all of these things. And I feel like we had so many conversations about how it feels to be, especially a new mom, but just being at home and kind of feeling lonely. Mm-hmm. A lot's happened in the world in the last few years. So I think that there's a lot of us, just a couple things. Nothing that comes to mind immediately. But I feel like we needed a way, or we desired a way to connect with people. And that's what we're here for.
We desire
connection.
Someone asked me the other day, why are you doing this? And I said, well, we're not positioning ourselves as experts on any subject.
I think we're experts at not being experts.
That is true. But it's more so just to provide you with a fun listen in the week that maybe feels like you're out to lunch or coffee with your friends. Because I know it's really hard to get together with people whenever you're a mom, a wife,
whenever you're living,
just a person. It's
when
just,
you're living,
a person, it's hard to get together with other people.
So here we are.
And I have to tell you some stories.
Okay, I'm ready.
So we went to Aldi this weekend. First off, do you go to the grocery store by yourself?
It's about 50-50.
Family thing.
Not a family thing. We've done that a couple times, but it never works out in the sense of scheduling because we live 2 different lives.
Yeah.
And then we come together at home to live one life, and anything outside of the home, it's kind of a different life.
Yeah.
So it doesn't ever really line up to go.
I love to go to the grocery store by myself, partly because when Andrew goes, I'll put something in the cart and he says, we don't need that. And I say, yes, we do. You don't live here. We do need that. But with 2 children, I do not go to the grocery store with the 2 of them.
Well, that's too much.
For one, there's no room in the cart after I put them in it because I can still keep George in his car seat.
Oh, yeah.
There's no room to put groceries. I have to pile stuff on him. But anyway, when Andrew's with me, we'll go. So we took a family trip to Aldi.
To the local Aldi.
Which they have the double kid cart. They have, which is really nice. So both of them could sit in there. Anyway, so we go in and I'm getting produce and Andrew has Dot and George and he is talking to her and I walk away and Dot goes, Daddy, kiss that lady. And she's not talking about me. She's talking about some random lady on this. And he says, I'm not going to kiss her. I'll kiss you. And she goes, kiss me. So he kisses her. And then she goes really loud, now kiss that lady. And she just kept asking, kiss that lady. Daddy, go kiss that lady.
Did the lady hear?
Yeah, she heard. So she said, she kind of turned her head and smiled. She didn't say anything. But we were laughing so hard because Dot was just begging him to go kiss that lady. And it was funny, but she is to the point now where she's starting to say things out loud.
Say the darndest things.
She's got a good vocabulary and she's starting to talk pretty clearly. You can understand what she's saying. And there have been a couple of times where we've been out and I've just seen her little wheels spinning and I just thought, please don't say anything. Please don't say anything. Because I'm just like, she's going to say something embarrassing someday.
Oh, it's bound to happen.
And I don't know. Well, I'm just thinking through in my head, what's my play? What am I going to do?
I remember there's a story my mom has told multiple times of when she took me to the store with her as a child. And it was, this is back in the early 2000s where you might let your kid roam about the store.
Yeah, never today.
No, never
today.
But we were at, just like a local grocery store. So it wasn't like it was, overrun with so many people. So she would go do her thing. And as long as I would tell her where I was at, it was okay. And so in this specific instance, I had went off, and it was back in the day when grocery stores used to have like those candy bins at the front of the store, or where it was like, like in a candy store, they have like the dispensable candies. And so it had like a big bin of like chocolates and jelly beans and all of the things like that. And my mom said that I just went and started eating chocolate out of the bin, but she wasn't with me. And then I went back to her in the store, and she was looking at me and said, "Where did you get chocolate?" And I said, "I didn't have chocolate."
What we're learning is that you were just a liar as a child.
I had chocolate around my mouth, she said. And she's like, "I see chocolate on your face. Where did you get it? We have to pay for that." Like, she's freaking out. I was like, "I didn't eat chocolate, Mom. I didn't do it." So I think it'll be funny when we hit that stage of parenting where things are obviously happening or they're doing silly things like that. And we're like, oh my God. Because I can imagine my mom was feeling embarrassed and overwhelmed in the store. And I feel like as a mom, you're so quick to be like, everyone's looking at me. Everyone's watching. My baby's crying. My baby's eating all of the chocolate in the grocery store.
Well, yeah. And there are those people that totally give you the look. Do we
I'm glad that you said that.
What a transition.
What a seamless transition. Sallie and I went out to lunch the other day. No. We didn't just go out to lunch. We had a very full day.
We mommed hard. We were the stereotypical moms.
We started our day with a workout at our gym. Mm-hmm. And then we got workout smoothies afterward.
We were in our leggings. We were in our Lululemon.
More importantly, Sallie was in leggings in public.
Didn't want to be,
and
I did.
I have had people tell me, even last night, someone told me, I listened to your podcast, and I was listening to the Pet Peeves episode, and I heard that Sallie doesn't like athleisure wear, and I thought, what is wrong with her?
Somebody said that?
Yes. I've actually had to I think 2 or 3 people say, I can't believe Sallie doesn't like leggings.
Yeah, they're not pants.
They are pants. Anyways, we're getting I'm wearing them right now. We're getting off topic. Okay, we were moms.
Yes.
The other day. So we took our kids to a local, what is it? The Discovery Lab. It's like a children's museum. That was overrun with children. And then we went to lunch afterwards. I mean, we had a full day. So here we are. We're at lunch. We're sitting outside. The kids are tired. We're tired. And little Georgie boy is hungry and tired. Mm-hmm. And he began to cry.
And he's not a baby. It's not like he's not a loud crier.
No, but
he cried.
But I also am thinking, okay, he's in a car seat. Mm-hmm. So that's how baby he is. Mm-hmm. He's in a car seat. He's not in a high chair. He's not a toddler. He's not sitting at the table. He's at the table with us. Mm-hmm. And you were obviously trying to mix him food, or things were being attempted to stop the crying. And we were outside. I also want to add that. We weren't even inside in a really quiet little restaurant. And behind Sallie sat these 2 women. And my assumption, and I'm pretty confident on this, is that it was a mom and a daughter, and then the daughter's son.
Yeah.
So a mom with her grandchild and her daughter at lunch. A table of 2 women who have had children. Yes. And they have the nerve to look over as George is crying and glare. And that just lights a fire in my heart.
Let me tell you, Holly was ready to go over there and speak on my behalf and go, listen, and get her finger out.
I was ready. My finger was flexing.
So I'm getting George, and I look, and Holly is just dead faced. So
I'm ready to fight.
What's going on? She goes, those 2 women. They're staring. And I'm like, at George? Because he's right? Yeah. I'm staring back at him. And I was just thinking, man, it's good to have someone who's just if something goes down here at this bistro patio, I've got my friend ready to throw down in our leggings.
Yeah.
with our children. And
I'm
go
clearly
over there
in workout attire.
Yeah.
So
we have done some lunges today. You do not want to mess with us.
I've done lunges within the last couple of hours, and you have denim on, so you have not been lunging.
You don't have the flexibility that I have in these leggings.
No. I've just always been that way, though. When I see, specifically when it's like women looking at other women in a mom setting like that, to where, like I said, they're moms.
Yeah.
We're moms. Don't look at me like
Yeah.
Like, or like you're like, oh, what is going on over there? Oh, it's just chaos over there. And I'm like, dude, mind your table.
Well, then Dot was pushing her high chair, and it was kind of rocking back.
And they were acting like they were going to get up to come
up
over.
and come rescue her.
Like every time that Dot would lean back a little bit, the mom would jerk a little bit forward in her seat. And I thought, you are not coming over here. No, ma'am.
I wanted to tell her, ma'am, you would not last 2 minutes at my home if this is how you...
You wouldn't last 2 minutes at my table.
You would not last here.
I don't know what that is. What is that? And
I think that you just expect people, well, moms especially, to have a little bit more compassion on a situation.
I really do.
And obviously when there is a noise that happens, it is natural to turn and look.
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't judge the people for
judge
turning
a
and
looker.
looking. A look. But when it's just like, when you make people feel like you better get it under control. Like they know that we all know. I know that I need to get George to stop crying. I don't want him. I'm not just going to sit there and ignore it.
Yeah.
I'm a mom. I want him to stop crying too.
Right.
We all want the same thing. You're not helping by,
looking.
by looking.
And
It's
not
a
just looking,
certain
by
look.
looking.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's a difference between, I know I've been in the grocery store before, and if I'm pushing Everly around, especially when she was younger, and if she would get, she had a dirty diaper, she needed a bottle, and she would just start that uncontrollable cry. No one was looking at me, but I immediately felt that like, oh my gosh, I gotta get her taken care of. Like, I don't want people to be bothered by anything like that. Actually, I was just in the grocery store with Everly yesterday, and I gave her a box of mac and cheese. It had Anna and Elsa on it. She doesn't even watch Frozen, but she knows who Anna and Elsa are. And she was shaking the box, like in a musical way, not just like mad and shaking it to throw a fit. And she was having a great time, and she was shaking the box, and she's smiling. And I was walked down the aisle. Obviously, it's pretty loud.
Yeah.
But she's having a great time. And there, I passed a gentleman, and he just looked over and was just like, gave me some daggers. And I thought, and my immediate response was, take the box away from her. Like, she needs to be quiet. And I thought, we're in a public setting. We're in a grocery store. She's having a great time.
Do you need silence?
Yeah. Don't go to a grocery store. Go to a park, maybe a park by the water.
Now, listen.
Yeah.
I am in complete favor of if my kid is acting crazy and unruly.
Yeah.
I have removed, the other day we attempted to go into a store. Dot was just not having it. And she just kept throwing a fit, and it was a quiet store. And I could not, I got down, I whispered to her, I'm like, we do not act this way. Gave her the eyes.
The mom eyes.
And she just wasn't having it. And so I picked her up, and she was crying, and I said, you don't get to go to that store if you're going to act this way. Now, she's old enough that she knows. So I'm not just forcing, because I am trying to be considerate of the people around me. But when kids are babies or kids are just kids, I think that we need a little bit more, we just need to chill out a little bit more. And I agree. There's certain ways you act, like I'm teaching Dot. There's certain ways we act when we go to a restaurant.
Right.
We don't be crazy. We don't throw silverware. Part of that is not for the people around me. It's so that I have a pleasant dining experience too, because I want to train her how to go out and not be a monkey when we go out. And so that when we go out with other people, it's comfortable and not letting her just run around and do whatever she wants. But for George, I'm like, he is a 9-month-old.
Just a little guy.
And he missed his nap, and he's sad, and he's not screaming. He's just crying. Like, just give it a minute.
Give it a minute. Just calm down. Yeah, there's just something about that mom looking over that made me think, who are you? are you a mommy blogger and you know better than I do? And you know some tips and tricks that you need to share with, do you need to share with the table? But I don't think you want to come over to this table because I'm going to share some things with you as well.
I'm going to tell you some things,
I've got
what you
something
can
to
do
tell
with
you.
your tips, where you can put them.
All that to say, even something as silly as me kind of wanting to fight a mom in public with my words, it doesn't mean I'm going to fist fight her. It just really made me think. I'm coming up on 2 years of Everly's life, her being a blessing to my family. But just 2 years of being a mom. And before I was a mom, obviously I didn't know how true it was to feel, the classic like mom guilt or comparison, which I feel like is a really big thing. And I feel like I got to experience that a little bit. But I think something that just kind of went off in my head as like her looking at me, it just brought back to remembrance of, man, I feel like it's so easy, especially as a mom or a young mom or a woman or whatever box you want to go into, of just immediately when someone is looking at you or near you to feel that comparing yourself or measuring yourself up against that. Whereas like at a table, oh, is my kid not being like your kid? Is mine not doing the right thing? And so I feel like that's really what at the back of my mind, I was like, this is why this is irritating me, is because the thought of comparison and measuring myself up against you gets me fired up.
I think this is also more specific to women in just comparison in general. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Andrew compares, to his friends sometimes, but I think it is uniquely, you women are comparing everything.
Well, I think we notice more as well. It's even as simple as Micah and I will be out and a woman could walk past me, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. She looked at me and I will look at Micah and say, can you believe that? And I'll be like, what are you talking about? The way that she looked at me, it was so rude. And he doesn't see, I think you're reading into something. I think she was just walking by and having a great day. But it's something that, and I know there are cases where maybe I am reading into something, but there is also, being a woman myself, I know when I'm looking at someone or when I'm like, I know what this is. I know what's going on here. We all know.
There's a Seinfeld episode where Elaine has these special shoes that she got. Did you just watch this?
Yes.
And someone comes up, I love your shoes. Where'd you get them? And she reluctantly tells them, I got them. Bought at Shelley's. And the other girl goes, oh my gosh, I can't believe you got your shoes there. I'm afraid to go in there. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, they part ways. Yes. And Elaine goes, I cannot believe what she just said about my shoes. And Jerry and George are like, what are you talking about? She said she liked him. You don't ask her. There's just like this code that only women are aware of. And in some ways, I think that's part of what makes it a lot more difficult to be friends with other women, because we just have like these we are aware of microaggressions that other people, guys, are not aware of, that they get in the way.
We're experts at creating scenarios in our head, whether that be, oh man, I was thinking about when they said that to me. I should have said this, which also makes me think of an episode of Seinfeld where George has a comeback and he thinks of it later and he plans what he's going to say this whole time.
Well, the jerk store called.
Yes, and it's really not that great. Big Seinfeld fans over here. No, but I think of all of the times where, even with Micah, I have done that, where I have this whole scenario worked up in my head. And even if we're laying down at night and I'm like, he's just laying over there thinking about this, and this. And when he says this, I'm going to say that. And then I'll hear him snore. Yeah. And I think, he has the nerve to go to sleep right now.
Andrew and I got in a fight when we were first married. And I remember he was at church. I was at home. He was working, and I was so mad at him. I don't remember what this was about. I was so freaking mad at him. And I just thought, I'm not going to be here when you get home. I'm going to be somewhere else. And I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to make you wonder where I went. So I went to Panera and was enjoying a bacon turkey Bravo by myself.
What a getaway.
Yeah, what a getaway. I'll show you. I'll go to Panera. And I'm sitting there just thinking about how wronged I've been and or how he's wronged me and, you know, and he texts me, goes, "Hey, where are you?"
Which makes you even more like, angry, I'm sure.
I just don't want to, I'm just out right now. And he goes, "Okay, well, I'll see you when you get home." Like, no. Just like, I am mad at you right now.
We are in a
fight. And you have the audacity to not even recognize that I'm mad at you.
To tell me to have a good day.
But there are things like that specifically with women that little things that like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that was a thing. Or comparing, or you posted a meme the other day that said, is it just me or does everybody look up how much out in Zillow to see how much everyone paid for their when you go to a new friend's house?
Yeah, it said, "Sorry, I'm late. I was just looking up to see how much you paid for your house on Zillow."
But it's you kind of want to know, like, where do I stand with my friends? Where am I? Like, I want to know. I wonder how often, like, I wonder how much money they have in their bank account.
Yeah, how much is in there right now?
How much money should I have in my bank account? I don't know. Shoot.
Am I doing it right? Am I okay?
Can I just ask them?
Yeah. Is it inappropriate?
How much money do you have?
Would they ask me?
Would they answer?
Then what if they ask me and I have to tell?
20.
Just 20? 20,000? 20. 20 cents? 20. But it's funny because even with that example, we do it in that area.
Yes.
It's constantly going through my mind. But I feel like I said, coming up on my 2-year mark of officially in motherhood, sitting and looking and going like, man, how is this damaging relationships around me and friendships around me, either potential or, I hit my mic again, potential or that I do have, to where it's like, okay, how do I get a hold of this, of like comparing myself to other moms, or how do I control looking over at another table when their kid isn't acting the way that my kid is acting, and who's setting the standard and the bar for that? I know personally for me, so last February, Everly had a little brain surgery.
Just a casual
just a
little one. It was just a
small little brain surgery. She had excessive fluid on the right side of her brain, which was causing weakness on the left side of her body. So she had surgery to correct to drain the fluid out. So either way, that has set us back on all of her milestones pretty much. She didn't crawl until I think it was 15 months, and then we're still working towards walking right now. So either way, I felt very early on the motherhood comparison, and I felt it in a very strong way. I specifically would recall really wanting to avoid get-togethers.
Yeah.
But on this other hand, really craving get-togethers because I was a new mom. And it was great to be in an environment where it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky to have, 3 or 4 friends that we all had babies within a month or 2 of each other, or even a year of each other. This is crazy. But then I was met with what we were walking through, and it was the very thing that I could have let keep me from connecting with other people. And I would still go, but it would get really hard to where it was like, okay, I don't think I can do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because I would walk into a situation and in the back of my mind think like, oh, look, they're all doing this and she can't do that. Are they noticing this? Did they feel like, what if they don't want to invite me to things because I'm not on the same page or the same level as them, or Everly's not doing the same things that their kids are doing? And just going through all of this, but like a battle in my head, that it was like, who is this battle against? Because it's not Everly versus her little tiny baby friends. And Everly wasn't aware of it for sure, but it was something, I ended up going to counseling for it for a while. And it was something that I learned, that it was like, I'm wanting to avoid this because I don't want to project this onto my daughter. And I don't want to raise yet another woman struggling so greatly in the comparison. Like I want to be able to correct it, or at least be able to approach it, and so that I'm able to do better with her and that she's able to do better and so on. But yeah, the comparison is just it can be a wicked little thing.
It can. I don't think it's completely bad though. There are instances when comparison is good. If you look at, we'll say with Everly, you have, when you go to doctor's appointments, you have certain standards that kids should be hitting certain milestones. If they don't hit those milestones, it gives you little red flags, something might be up. So if you take away comparison altogether and say, well, everybody just does everything on their own track, which is true, but would it lead you to go to investigate? Well, there might be something that's actually causing her, something medical. It's not that she's just incapable. It's like a medical reason why she can't do something. And if you don't have those comparisons, you have no standard with which to measure it by. So it can be a helpful tool to measure. I mean, if you don't have a control, like in science, you can't tell growth or if you're or loss. So I think it's just uncomfortable to see that like you might not be doing as well as someone else. And that doesn't mean that, to me, that doesn't go, well, then it's a horrible thing. Throw it out. I shouldn't compare.
Right.
Because to me, it can be helpful. Go, well, maybe that's something I need to work on. I specifically think of exercise because it's just an easy example. I'm almost a year postpartum with George. Started working out when I was 7 weeks postpartum. I was so ready to get back.
I remember.
I was so ready. Just for some backstory, was an athlete, an amazing athlete in high school. I was an athlete in high school. I really enjoyed the aspect of team sports and working out. And I loved that. Worked out, taught group fitness classes, worked out my whole pregnancy with Dot. After she was born, I sort of started getting back into the gym, and then the world shut down. And maybe some people were motivated to do home workouts, but I was not motivated to do any sort of exercise. And so I got pregnant with George when Dot was 10 or 11 months old. So I really, hadn't lost all of the weight that I had gained with her. And then with my pregnancy with George, I already had a 18-month-old. So I didn't do anything. I did nothing. There was not one exercise which was done my whole pregnancy. And it was really nice. I have no regrets on that. I regret nothing. So when I started working out, I was so ready just to get back into it. In my trainer, I hired a trainer. It was like, if I'm doing this, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hire a trainer. I'm going to do a meal plan.
But also, I think,
do this thing.
To interrupt you briefly with this little thing, I think there's something to be said too about, even though it's something that you were really passionate about and at one point you were really great at it, you recognized that it wasn't working so well on your own.
Oh my gosh,
that you had to stop and be vulnerable enough to say,
yes,
I need help.
Yes.
Keep going.
I needed help because this is what was interesting to me. I had the same trainer I had before I was pregnant with George. I had her when I started working out with Dot before the world shut down. I saw her like 2 times a week and I had sort of good results. This time I trained with her virtually. So I never see her in person. And I have way better results just because it's someone every day just texting me going, hey, did you make it to the gym today? Are you going to log your food? Are you going to tell me about that piece of cake that you ate? Yeah. Anyway, just some accountability. So one of the parts that she had me do was at 7 weeks postpartum. So, I mean, there's stuff, a jiggling and a shaking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there is.
And she said, you need to take pictures and measurements. And I was just like, I don't want to.
Yeah. No,
thank you.
I would like to do the next step, please.
I'd like to just skip to the afters. She said, you will regret. If you do not take these pictures, you will regret not taking them. And so it took like a week and she kept texting me like, hey, you got to take those pictures. You got to take your measurements. And so I did, and I did it in the evening in our house. And it is the most unflattering, like the absolute worst pictures that you could take. And Andrew took them and then I immediately had them deleted off of the phone because it was just so, when you have a picture of like, your potential, your athletic potential, and you have so far to go to get back to it. And I knew, I'm like, oh, it's going to be so many workouts. I have to eat so much chicken and rice and spinach to get to hit my goal. But I did it. And I took pictures a couple different points. And now I'm so glad I did that, because I can see, I have a comparison to see that I've grown. Because if not, I would not know that I had changed that much, because you live with yourself every day. You aren't super aware of, specifically with weight loss. You lose a pound, you don't really notice it until a long period of time has passed. But then you can look at a picture and go, oh my gosh, wow, I had no idea how much I had changed or grown. Or same thing with your kids. You are around them every day. You don't know how much they grow until you lean them up against the wall and measure their height and see, wow, you grew 5 inches over the summer. That's crazy. I had no idea. And so comparison can be a really good tool if you're using it in the right. It can be hard, but it's not necessarily something I think that I should just go, it's because it's hard, I can't look at it.
Yeah, I want it to go away.
Just because something is hard does not mean it's not worth doing.
Right.
Or changing.
Well, and I think just from listening to you say that story and then even thinking back on my own, I think the similarities in both is that it required us to, number one, self-assess and go, okay, here's where I'm at really.
Yeah.
And whether that's acknowledging I'm in a really bad spot physically or emotionally, just taking note of that. And then our second step for both of it, like I said, eventually I reached a point that it was, I need to go to a counselor.
Yeah.
Like I've tried to do this on my own. It's not going so well. And then same thing with you. I had to hire a trainer. I've tried to do this on my own. Yeah. It's not going so well. So you have these two aspects where it's different, but the same in the sense of comparison comes in many different ways, shapes, and forms, I think. And then being able to go, okay, here's where I'm at. I need the help. And now I need accountability. So even with somebody who struggles with comparison, if it's like we're talking about, like with being a mom and measuring, constantly having social media at my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly seeing all of the good things that people are doing. And then going, maybe I need to shut off social media. Maybe I need to create some boundaries to get my comparison in check. Or maybe it's driving me to go, you know what? I always see so-and-so doing so many activities with her kids. And maybe instead of being bitter and mad about it and saying, well, I must be a crappy mom then because I don't do all of that, shutting it off and going, do I want to do that? Maybe I should try it. Maybe like turning it and going, well, let's try to flip the script here and make it a positive experience.
There have been people that I have been jealous of on social media, and then I'm like, everything. But then I ask myself, are you willing to do what they did to get where they are? No? Then shut up.
Yes.
You're not? Okay. Then you have no reason to complain. And it's just, listen, let me tell you something.
Tell me.
You can learn so much from the show, My 600-Pound Life.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to just harp on weight loss, but this is the most, everyone has their own issue. In the show, My 600-Pound Life, their issue is just physically apparent. Other people, you've got emotional issues you can't see. But I love that show because I think it is such a good example of just human nature and how you will make excuses for why you do not need to change. And there's a woman, they do like a little monologue over their footage, and she can't get to wherever the Dr. Now, wherever he is. It's like, I hope Dr. Now helps me, because if he doesn't take me on as a client, then I'm probably going to die. And he is my only hope. Oh, God. And he's the only one that can help me. And I just want to go, you don't know that maybe, I don't know, maybe ordering a whole large pizza every single night is not maybe we just start there.
Start with dinner.
Maybe we just start with dinner.
One meal.
Start with water. Just drink some water. But we will complain about, well, that girl she's so successful, or she's so fit, and I hate her. She looks so great in all her clothes, and I hate her. And I think, do you eat salad and chicken? Do you get your butt up at the gym at 5 a.m.? No, she does. So you can't be mad at her for putting in work you're not willing to put in. Is her business successful? Has she been working at that really hard? What have you been doing? I've been watching my TikTok. 600-pound life. Yeah. I've been spending 4 hours a day on social media. It's like, then shut up.
Yeah.
Because you're not willing to put in the work. And I think that's half of why we're mad at other people, is because really we're fresh. We don't want to be frustrated at ourselves. So if we just go, I'm mad at them. Bleh.
Well, and it's easier to constantly, like we're talking about with having social media and just our phones in general, and being such a connected people that we are, it's so easy to constantly look outward and around me and look at my house instead and go, well, I wish I had a different couch. I want a different rug, and I wish we had I wish we had a pantry, and I wish we had this, and I wish that, and instead of sitting and going, what is it in me that is needing whatever I think that I'm needing, or what is it in me that when I look at them really irritates me? Because I can guarantee you it's really not a them problem. It's more of a me problem. I just finished the book Atomic Habits.
I've got to start that.
Let me tell you.
I know. I've got to start it.
It is a really great book. But in regards to what you were just saying, one of the last chapters that I read, he was talking about it's really easy for people to be discouraged to others and blame it on, like, well, my genetics just aren't that. It's just not in me. And he wrote in it, it was like, until you are willing to try the things that the successful people have done and worked at, you cannot write it off as genetics and it's mere laziness. Yeah. And I was reading it, and I was like, I'm offended.
That hurts my feelings.
That hurt me. But all of that to say, it really just made me sit and go, man, it's so easy to be the person to sit and go, if things just nothing's in my hand. Like everything's out of favor for me. I don't get anything. It's so hard for me to lose weight. It's so hard for me to make friends. It's so hard for me. And these are all real things that I'm saying that I personally have experienced. So I know that there's someone else who's experienced that. But for me to go, but what am I actually doing? And just start, it's like you said, it sounds funny, but drinking water, start with something that simple. Start with something that is within your means and within your reach to go, okay, I'm going to drink 3 of my giant jugs.
Reduce every day.
My giant water jug that's 40 ounces. If I could just drink 3 of these, imagine how great I'll feel. But then to say, like, once I can cultivate that, maybe then I can move on to something else that, we could get into a little bigger stake.
Maybe
here.
After that you can try kale.
Oh, that's too far. That's way too far.
Yeah, it's both. There was a girl that I followed a few years ago. She had just amazing genetics. Part of it was, I'm sure a lot of it was working out, and some of it was just, I can't will myself and work myself to be 6 feet tall.
Right.
Beautiful, amazing hair, hot husband.
Wow.
Million followers. And it seems like all they do is just travel around and live on the beach with her beautiful children.
Sounds great.
And when she's pregnant, it's just her belly, That's it.
I don't get it.
When I'm pregnant, it's like everything.
My chins are pregnant. My belly's pregnant.
My arm, my biceps, everything. My thighs.
My thighs are pregnant.
She's not that way. And she's got a company, and they're modeling, and her husband's a photographer, and they just travel on taking photos of her in these swimsuits. And now I think she's got 3 or 4 children.
There's a husband who can take good photos of their wife? I don't believe it.
And I just found myself, like, I'd get on and just like, And, when you find someone who's just like,
dang it.
Dadgummit. My hair's not long enough and my waist is too big. Anyway, I realized I don't begrudge her. But I realized, you know what? I am just feeling blah when I look at your feed. Mm-hmm. Not because you're going, I'm so hot, because she wasn't that way. Mm-hmm. It's just who she is as a person.
This is her.
It's like, an Olympian god coming to live among mortals. And you're just like, I don't think we're the same species. Mm-hmm. And I unfollowed her. And again, no ill will.
Yeah.
I don't think about her. And I'm not going, I'm not hot enough. I need my hair. Sometimes you just need to disconnect from those things. And it doesn't mean that she's a bad person. To me, it goes, you're incapable of following this girl without feeling bad about yourself. Right. Not because of her, but because of you.
Right. This is a you problem.
So remove yourself from this situation. Right. I don't need to send her a message and say, you made me feel bad.
I'm sick of your beauty.
I don't like you. Yeah.
I want to look like that, and you look like that, and it's not fair, and I want you to delete Instagram right now. I don't want you posting on here anymore. I don't like that you have long hair, and I cut my hair to be short, but I want... So, all that to say, do with that information what you will.
Again, we're not experts.
We're not experts, but this is helping me.
But maybe drink some... Maybe you need to look at yourself and point your finger and say, you get it together.
Get in that mirror. You said, look at my...
Stop being lazy.
Look at my... You hold your face if you have to, so you get real direct. Look at me. Look at what you've done.
All that to say. Again, all that to say. If you feel bad sometimes, you're not alone.
Oh, God, no. And also to say, welcome to our new podcast, also to say, it's not something that you're ever going to make go away completely.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's something that there's always going to be, here's the encouragement you needed to hear. There's always going to be more to try to bring you down or something. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's a continual just working on yourself and trying to be the best mother, wife, friend that I can be in the circle that I'm in. Not for the world, not to dominate all women and all mothers. I know. We've got two agendas here.
Yeah.
But to say, I've got to do the work for me that makes sense for me and my schedule and my family, not for you or anyone else.
I would say I'm probably doing better in some areas than I think I am, and worse in others than I think I am.
Oh, we're our own worst critic as well.
I'm simultaneously doing better than I think and worse than I think in some areas. And it's all...
But there's a balance somewhere in that.
There's a balance.
And I think even just like you had mentioned in the beginning of, it's not always the worst thing to have a comparison, but it's also not the best thing to fixate on at all times. But it's good to, like you said, give yourself a check and go, maybe this is something that I need to address.
Yeah.
And being able to be, put your big girl panties on and being able to go, I think that I've got some things to work on, and maybe it's not always, you need to get your kids under control at the dinner table. Maybe I need to have my head down and focus on my plate at my table. How about that?
Maybe I need to be more gracious.
Maybe we need to be more kind.
I think I can't see that as a being.
I don't know how much more kind I could be. I'm pushing it.
Well, that's all we've got for you today.
I think that was a walk around the park.
But if you have got some stories,
oh yeah,
for things that motherhood struggles, what else?
Or if you have like an embarrassing story of something, maybe if you have kids and you were in the grocery store, you're out in public and they just did something that made your cheeks flush.
Yeah.
We would love to hear that. We're going to put a little question box on our Instagram stories.
Why Can't We Be Friends podcast.
Boom. Give it a follow. We're going to put those out the day that this is released. And we'll probably put a few out throughout the week just because we want to give everyone a chance that we could share some of the embarrassment with the world. Because, it's more fun when we're all laughing.
Definitely not alone.
No. So
thanks for listening. If this was something you enjoyed, I know we say this every week, but please share with a friend. This is still relatively new, even though we're on month 3?
Yeah, we are.
Month 3. When you start something new, it's kind of hard to get it out to where people know about it. So if you would send it to a friend, if you liked it, only if you liked it.
If you didn't like it, we don't need.
If you hated it, go ahead and send it to an enemy. Because at least that's a listen.
If you hated it, you can contact Micah Feltz, and you can give all of your grievances to that man. We don't want any of it.
We don't want any of it. But thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
Until next time.